Ah yes, it's the wonderful holiday season. The stockings are hung by the chimney with care as your children sleep, dreaming of sugar plums. And despite how cold it is outside or how socially distanced we all may be, you almost get the feeling that we could join hands in a warm, densely packed urban area and cherish each other once more. Yes, 'tis the season for urbanism. This is the Pop Culture Urbanism Holiday Special, and today we're going to look at the North Pole and see if Santa's as good at city planning as he is at making toys. Depictions of the North Pole vary widely, from the factory town of the Polar Express to the quaint nestled village of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, to the quasi-Wonka factory, quasi-CIA headquarters of the Santa Claus. However, across all of these tales, the storytellers have landed on one prime insight, and that's that the North Pole is a centrally planned city. And for those who are keeping score, I would add that this is canon. In the 1970s Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Kris Kringle, his wife, and their friends, fugitives of the anti-toy Burgermeister, actually settle the North Pole. They build a castle and a toy factory. Yes, I'm sorry, NIMBYs, Santa Claus is a developer. We in city planning would call the North Pole a master plan community. A master plan community is one that's built out in advance by developers, planning out the roads and the houses before anyone even moves in, as opposed to a regular city where residents plan it out on an ad hoc basis. And these are pretty common in the US, where developers will buy a large portion of land and plan it all out. What's different here is that the master plan communities of developers, or startup cities, are meant to be open-ended. Once everything's built out, residents are free to pursue their own goals. In the North Pole, by contrast, every resident is subservient to one central plan, and that's about making and delivering toys, and occasionally some coal.
What if I choose not to believe it?
Life in the North Pole is all about serving Santa Claus's operations. If you're not cut out for that, tough luck. And this is a recurring theme in a lot of holiday classics. Take 1964's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, where Rudolph and his elf friend Hermie can't find a role in Santa's operations.
All right, son, try it on.
I don't wanna. Daddy, I don't like it.
You'll like it and wear it.
Oh, but Daddy.
Rudolph's red nose is deemed an embarrassing disability, so he can't be on the sleigh team. And Hermie's dreams of being a dentist also aren't allowed. Apparently there's no permission to be a dentist in a city that only eats candy.
A dentist? Good grief!
They start off misfits, but they eventually prove themselves to a North Pole community that eventually accepts them. Of course, Rudolph creates value by having his shining red nose at the head of the sleigh, and Hermie, less glamorously, is eventually allowed to start his own dental practice. They're integrated into the North Pole's central plan.
All right, you can open up a dentist office next week after Christmas.
And this is still a theme in more recent films. In 2003's Elf, Buddy, being a human, can't fit in with his elf colleagues and coworkers. In one scene in particular, he's off schedule with the toy-making central plan by 915 Etch-a-Sketches.
Why don't you just say it? I'm the worst toy maker in the world. I'm a cotton-headed ninny-muggins.
By the end of the movie, however, Buddy finds a place for himself, working with his long-lost father at a publishing company, no longer beholden to the central plan of the North Pole. This central plan insight is also picked up in the Polar Express, where the North Pole is depicted as a kind of factory town. Everything about the city, from the plaza being big enough to host a Christmas tree to the pneumatic tube system, is built around the toy-making operation. Now this is a pretty massive change from the 1970 North Pole, where Santa has to build a castle to create a defensive position against a Burgermeister who would extradite him for making toys.
You are all under arrest for defying the law and making toys.
If this ever happens to you, call the Pacific Legal Foundation right away. Constitutional lawyers are standing by to take your case.
In the Polar Express, by contrast, Santa has built a massive industrial toy-making operation, producing toys for the entire world. Santa and his head elves had to plan out where everyone was gonna live and work and shop and engage in politics and, of course, all the infrastructure to tie it all together.
I don't think we're supposed to leave our seats.
Yeah, it's a violation of railroad safety regulations.
And And this is quite similar to turn-of-the-century company towns, where companies would build cities in remote regions. Think mountains for mining camps or forests for lumber camps. They have to build the housing, the shopping centers, the schools, everything else for a labor force that wouldn't otherwise be there. At their peak, company towns actually housed around 3% of the US population. They've since fallen out of favor as automobiles have made it easier to commute from further distances and favorable tax policies have encouraged more home ownership. But the Polar Express is capturing the same insight as before, which is that the North Pole is centrally planned around its toy-making purpose. Making it a company town was a brilliant choice. Now there's one thing I haven't touched on yet. The way the North Pole is portrayed is not just about plausible functionality. The city itself is also a kind of symbol of holiday cheer, of the Christmas spirit, of the comfort of friends, family, and lots of carbs. When you think about spiritual cities, what comes to mind? Maybe Mecca, the Forbidden City, Jerusalem. Or how about the Vatican? Father Christmas is, after all, a saint. Actually, thinking about it, looking at the Santa Claus films, you look at the Santa Claus role being passed down, it's almost kind of papal. And those elves, I mean, they're dressed like Swiss guards. Kind of weird. Somebody should really ask Tim Allen about this. Now, despite being the setting for so many Christmas movies, New York City is invariably depicted as a city of non-believers. Millions of people losing touch with their inner child and the holiday spirit on the hustle and bustle of the city streets. Think Miracle on 34th Street, Elf, or any given Hallmark movie where you have some big city ad executive who gets stuck in a small town. You know what I'm talking about. The North Pole is meant to be its polar opposite, and its antidote. A city fully built around the holiday spirit. Like the Vatican, or its secular equivalent, Washington, D.C., the city is full of iconography, architecture, and aesthetics designed around reinforcing this one central ideology. To maintain this effect, these cities spend a lot on their aesthetics, from the monuments and murals to the way that buildings are designed to the way that the city itself is even laid out. It's highly plausible that the North Pole has a set of design regulations focused on maintaining the Christmas spirit or enforcing visual commonality. Maybe there's a requirement that all the houses have to be wooden to maintain an old world aesthetic. Maybe the gumdrops have to be evenly spaced at every gingerbread house, or maybe there's a list of approved colors for the candy cane columns. It's arguable that these types of design rules may be justifiable in certain contexts, but let's take a step back and look at it in a different way. Should other cities emulate these North Pole style design regulations? In a way, it's a kind of spiritual protectionism. Now, I'm not saying that cities like the Vatican or Mecca or the North Pole are necessarily on the naughty list, just that they're fundamentally different from a city like New York or Tokyo or London. Instead of visual or ideological conformity, these cities emphasize diversity and innovation. And those are the qualities that make cities great and vibrant. I mean, ask yourself, would you like to live in a growing modern city or the North Pole, even accounting for its terrible weather? The North Pole is vibrant in a Christmassy kind of way, but a city like New York can be Halloween, 4th of July, St. Patrick's Day, and Christmas all rolled into one. Maybe the North Pole, with its Christmas magic, doesn't need to change. Maybe it represents things that never change, like love and family and peace. But most cities aren't like that. Most cities need to change. They need to be open to new ideas and growing populations. Now this Christmas season, you're ready to spin. A tale about Santa and the city he's in. Kris Kringle, with visions of holiday cheer, did not make this town just simply appear. It took lots of work and planning with care, with houses for all who might want to live there. Oh, maybe, just maybe, a city plan right could bring us our presents each Christmas Eve night. But if no central goal should direct such a people, don't control them at all, from the streets to the steeple. Let Hermie fix teeth and let Rudolph take flight, and let people be free to build housing that might grow our communities 3 sizes or more, because freedom for all is freedom for sure. With that, let me wish you from the Pacific Legal Foundation, from myself, my producer, my crew, with all our elation, Happy holidays to you and your family this season. I'm Nolan Gray, and this has been Pop Culture Urban Ism.
Christmas in Harlem, right after autumn fall.
That's all for this holiday special of Pop Culture Urbanism. I've been your host, Nolan Gray. If you would like more urban commentary with a little bit of holiday spirit, be sure to check out our video on the evil developer trope, where we talk about It's a Wonderful Life. And before you go, let us know in the comments below, should the North Pole Planning Commission be on the naughty or nice list? As always, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and we'll see you in the next episode. Happy holidays.
You'll be doomed.